Well, another full afternoon sees the Weathervane all but finished. So there we are. It's not come too bad, I don't think. Look, it spins round nice and easily. See? Won't go around, just tail just catches, but got it balanced, it's in the middle, it's pretty square, it looks right. And if something looks right, it normally is. I've got the bracket on, and just for my sister's information, it had to go that way, and she wanted it facing north, so you have to put a block of wood, screw it to a piece of wood about that thick, and then screw the wood onto your shed, because that was the only way it would go. But it's done, near enough. The only thing is, of all things, I've got a big, I'll show you, I've got a big box of bolts that I treated myself to when I had my tractor. Of course, I've got every size left except quarter, 6mm. So, I've been looking for quite a while. I just need two 6mm nuts to go on there. So I've had to improvise and put these on, which I've got. But, yeah, it could be better, but then again it could be worse, couldn't it? At least I've got... At least I've managed to weld the north opposite the south, and I didn't get the south at 90 degrees where, and it spins round very nicely actually. I am quite pleased with how that's gone. And what I did in the end, for the bottom, I just made a dome on the shaft, you see. And that seems to work very well. It's certainly heavy, it won't blow off. And it's certainly big enough that way that it'll point into the wind. So there you go. That's it. Could probably do with a little bit more cleaning up, but it's you won't notice it when it's up in the air, will you? So, been a big project, hasn't it? We'll have to see if my friend can take it to her then. So they are in. There's your Weathervane. Right, because you like these stories, I thought of another one you might like. From work when I was 17. Well, there's two stories actually, but they're not very long. But I told you about my foreman, Tom, and he had a dry sense of humour. Well, won't go on there. I'll have to stand it on the bench and walk back a bit, I think. I think that's the best way to do it, as usual. There you are. I'm pretty sure you can see me there. Yeah, so anyway, like I was telling you, he had a dry sense of humour. And his son, Mick, he was one who taught me a lot. He was my first teacher, if you like. And he taught me a lot, Mick did. Anyway, he was habitually late. Only a minute or two, but he was habitually late. Now, for a clock in the workshop, Tom had an ordinary small alarm clock in a case above his bench. Now the blacksmith, Arthur, he was the other side of the shop, and it was quite a big shop, It was right the other side at his forge, and they started work early. They were both past retiring age, and they started work early, So anyway, one day, Mick got there early. He had been in town or something, but it wasn't late anyway. So let's just pretend that ruler is the clock, an ordinary little alarm clock. It's all I've got round here, right? As I'll show you. But, so anyway, what Tom did, he went to the cabinet that the clock was in and took it out, and he walked all the way across the shop to the other side, and he said to Arthur, "Is that the right time, Arthur?" So, you know, it was slightly amusing. But another story we said about the worst jobs, and I told you the other day about me a bit of a nasty job up on the hilltop in the coal. Well, I had a worse one. I was just thinking, you know, what's the worst job I've had? And I've had some pretty rotten ones, but I think this has to cap it all. Again, I hadn't passed the test, and you know what a caddyard is, don't you? An abattoir. Well, I've got a boiler to boil up the skins of dead animals. And on top of the boiler, there was a steam pipe. And this steam pipe needed re-welding, it was leaking. So, Tom sent me with the oxyacetylene bottles. Right? Well, if he'd sent me to go and have a look, I would have very well known it needed electric arc welder, you know, to weld it up. It was quite thick. So here I am, sat on top of this boiler that they boil the skins up, and it's one of the worst smells in the world, I would say. So I'm sat on here with an oxyacetylene torch, the biggest nozzling that we had, trying to get enough heat in this pipe to weld it up. Well, it didn't go very well. It didn't. And in fact, I actually had to stop and go outside for some air, else I would have been sick, you know. So I think I can fair to say that that's the worst job I've ever had. I've had some pretty rotten ones, you know, as well, especially in my own time, you know, on cars. And you went out on Saturday night and raced about and blew the engine up, and then on Sunday you had to go to a breakage yard and get another engine and spend all afternoon and the evening fitting it, ready to go back to work on Monday morning. We did it a few times, you know. I think we've learnt better since. So there we are. There's just one little story for you today that you might or might not like. I'll try and think of some more, but it's just to entertain you a little while. So anyway, we'll have one last look at the weather vane, and you can tell me what you think. We'll have a bit closer look this time. Right, well, you've seen the dog with a large tail, and it will certainly turn into the wind, won't it? And it spins round very easily. Look at that. It really does. The wind will turn that round all right, so I'm quite pleased with that. And the letters have come all right, barring the S, and you've seen the S, but they're straight, look. I have got them welded on straight, which was a bit of a concern. I had to do it with eye, you see. You can't do it any other way. And I've got them in the right order. So we've got north, south, east and west, pointing the right way. So I suppose I've got to be, well, I'm never satisfied with it, but I've got to be relatively happy with it. You know, it could have come a lot worse, couldn't it? So there we are. A little story for you, and the end of the weather vane. I need some paint to paint it with. I need a can of paint, spray paint really. So that's the next thing before it's ready to send. But other than that, yeah, it's been interesting, worthwhile I think. Right, we'll have a chat to you soon.